Welcome back to the podcast, episode 5. Thanks again for listening. I am your host, Bo Shifty, joined once again by the crew, Steve.
Yo, what up?
And Brody.
What's up, everybody out there?
What is up? All right, so we're going to do a quick recap of Week 11, Chris Berman style. Brody is going to hit us with the injury report, and we're going to finish up previewing Week 12. We'll do all this before we jump into that live cast. So let's get this thing going. Hit us with Week 11 preview, Steve.
All right, thank you, Bo. Starting off with the primetime matchup of the week, the Schmucks versus AVK. Both teams were first place in their divisions heading into this matchup. Convengers were an 8-point favorite going into this matchup, and although the game did not live up to the scoring output we were expecting, it did not disappoint. The game was decided in the final moments of Monday night's game between the Rams and the Buccaneers, where Tom Brady's last-second interception gave the Convengers just enough points to decide the game. Alvin Kamara had an off game with only 10.5 points, while AVK had negative 8 points due to turnovers from Ryan Cook and Miles Sanders. Final score 134.1 to 132.7 with the Convengers. With the win, the Convengers have clinched their division, while the Schmucks fall to second in their division with arguably the toughest schedule remaining. Next up, we had Jack's Capital versus Mr. Bungle. Blowout win from Jack's Capital, scoring a league-high 170.3 points and winning the week for the second time this year. Newly acquired Justin Herbert showed out with 34.1 points, while Michael Thomas finally had a breakout game with 20 points. Jack's Capital looks very formidable with a favorable schedule remaining and has a real shot at the number 1 seed in the East. On the losing end, Mr. Bungo has officially been eliminated from playoff contention and must now shift their focus to winning the number 1 overall pick in 2021. Next, we had Team Chain Gang versus Line Junk. Line Junk prevails in a must-win game to keep pace for the final spot in the playoffs, defeats Team Chain Gang 139.4 to 118.1 and improves to 5-6 on the year. Big games from Aaron Rodgers, Deontay Johnson, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire were enough to win comfortably. Team Chain Gang falls to 3-8 and has officially been eliminated from the playoff contention. Next matchup we had was Meadowtown Steel Tits versus Childish Drubino. This was a huge game for Drubino to keep pace for that final playoff spot. Newly acquired Antonio Gibson had a good game with 17.4 points, but unfortunately an injury to Julio Jones may have decided this game. He finished with just 5.9 points and played only 35% of the offensive snaps for the Falcons. Steel Tits wins this game 162.4 to 157.9 and has now won 4 games in a row and is in first place in the East. Next matchup was between Cream Pies versus Super Saiyan French Fries. Cream Pies wins this game handily 137.3 to 114.1. Big games from Derrick Henry, Adam Thielen, and waiver wire pickup of the week, Taysom Hill, who was able to fill in the tight end position. He had 24.1 points, while Hayden Hurst was held to 0. DeAndre Hopkins also had an off game, scoring only 10.1 points. Super Saiyan French Fries falls to 5-6 and have lost a third straight game in a row and are now in a 3-way tie for their final playoff spot. On the winning side, the Cream Pies has now won 2 games in a row and sits in third in the East, but very much in contention for that number 1 spot. Our final game was between Team Brody and Crumb Duster. Team Brody keeps their playoff hopes alive thanks to big games from Robert Woods and DJ Moore, while Crumb Duster had nice games from late week acquisitions, Carlos Hyde and Michael Pittman Jr. Team Brody takes this game 136.5 to 121.9 and snaps their 4-game losing streak, improves to 4-7, while Crumb Duster falls to 5-6 on the year and will face Super Saiyan French Fries next week in a must-win game. Now I'm going to pass it over to Brody to give you an injury report on Week 12. Brody?
What's going on, guys? Quite a few injuries to report this week. Big news for Adam Thielen owners out there. He's tested positive for the COVID on Monday. But something to be hopeful about is he'll be getting retested tomorrow. And from what I read is that today he also got tested and tested negative. So if he tests tomorrow negative, he'll be clear to play on Sunday. But as of right now, he's still inactive for this Sunday's game. Christian McCaffrey owners, you're going to have to be out be out with him for another week as he's nursing his sprained shoulder. Um, Matt Rule is gonna take it easy on him. Um, probably gonna be a week by week situation. So just hang tight with him. Um, we'll see what happens concerning his injury. And San Francisco fans, Raheem Mostert, he's been designated off the injury reserve. So if he's ready to go, he'll play this Sunday against the Rams, which he hasn't been available for weeks, since week 6. So I know you guys are waiting for him to come back. And Austin Eckler fans, Austin Eckler owners, he will be back. He is designated for return from the injury reserve this week. It's unclear if he'll be ready for this week, but there's good signs that he'll be ready to play in 2 weeks. Today, little tidbit today on his Twitch, he said he wants to play this week, but he definitely will be ready next week. He's also saying that this is something also you need to be aware of. He's also saying that he might be splitting his carries going forward, which you can understand because he's barely coming off an injury. So, and they have Kalen Balazs. That's another back that can also relieve some of his load. And Kyler Murray owners, no need for concern. He will play this week. He had an injured shoulder, but all indications say that he's good to go. He was rehabbing today, and if he takes part in practice tomorrow and Friday, then he'll be good to go for Sunday. McLaren owners from the Washington team. He logged in limited practice today, but that is a good sign of improvement because he did not practice on Monday, and that's a good sign because he plays on Thursday, which is a very quick week turnaround for him. But they do play the Cowboys, and the Cowboys have a really bad secondary. So if he's ready to go, then you got to fire him up. Antonio Gibson, he was also a non-participant in Monday's practice, but he was a full practice today, so he should be ready for Thursday against the Dallas Cowboys. Let's see what else is going on around the league. Ravens, the Ravens now have 5 players and 5 staffers that are tested positive for COVID this week. Their Thursday game is still scheduled to proceed, but if the team reports more positive tests, that game can be in jeopardy of being postponed for this week. As of right now, Ravens running backs Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobson, they're out for this Thursday with 2 positive tests. In their place will be Gus Bus. So if you can pick him up off the wire, then you should be strongly recommended to do that. He could be a quick flyer if you need him. Julio Jones, he got injured this past weekend, but he as of right now, he's a game time decision. He did have a limited practice today, but as of right now, Raheem Morris is designating him a game time decision, which is nothing new to Julio Jones owners because that's pretty much his status all season, every year. Calvin Ridley would step up if Julio Jones can't come through on Sunday, so he'd be the unquestioned number 1. And Seattle Seahawks, Chris Carson, he was able to record a full practice today. It's a good step in the right direction for him so he could play in Monday's game against the Eagles, which gives him enough time for him to rehab and be ready for that game. Also, Rashard Penny, he looks like he's going to be coming back next week, so Carson will have his backup if he can't suit up. And sad news for Cincinnati fans. Joe Burrow tears his ACL and MCL in his left knee, and Burrow will undergo reconstructive surgery and rehab for 2021, and he might not be ready till 2022. Um, Also, news out of New England: Rex Burkhead tore his ACL, so he's pretty much done for the season. And Taysom Hill, he loses his tight end eligibility in ESPN, so he's going to be designated a quarterback from here on out. And that's pretty much the main news of injuries this week, guys. Any thoughts on that?
Just sad for Joe Burrow. Sucks.
Yeah, that was hearing they might not even bring him back next year at this point. That's your franchise quarterback. So I think the recovery for this is what, 9 to 12 months. So I mean, why not just hold him out? But yeah, tougher for the Bengals. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Brody, for your reports. We're gonna move along here. Let's try to knock out a Week 12 preview as fast as we possibly can here. If you guys can get Team Chain Gang and Jack's Capital up on your boards here. Jack's Capital favorite here by 25 points. Unfortunately, Ben Roethlisberger is still on the lineup here. We can assume that he's going to run with Josh Allen. That'll make a slight difference. Who else does he get back? David Montgomery might come back from. Is he back? Is he back, Brody? Anything on Montgomery?
On David Montgomery, well, he was out on concussion, but let me get you that information.
Yeah, you'll get back on that with that. You'll get back to us with that. So, Jack's Capital, Justin Herbert, Jacobs, Robinson, lineup seems healthy. Michael Thomas, is he back? Seems like, I mean, he got 7 out of the first 9 targets. So he could very well much be back. But all in all here, I like Jack's Capital on this matchup. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm going with Jack's Capital this week. Just more firepower on his side of the ball. Chain Gang, he tried to keep his team together this year, and he did the best he could. So he's just playing for that number 1 pick now. So let's see what his team does.
Yeah, and I think he has a good chance for that number 1 pick because out of the teams that, out of the playoffs right now, he has a lot of talent for sure. But, with this matchup, I got Jack's Capital winning this game, maybe a little comfortably. Team Chain Gang has put up a lot of points in previous games. Getting Josh Allen back this week. Not sure about the status of Deebo Samuel, but that's somebody he could probably slide in there. Either as a flex. He's had some big games. He's just, that running back position. Darrell Henderson's been a disappointment since that trade for Travis Kelce. He hasn't really had a big game since he's been acquired. And yeah, like Brody said, I mean, there's just too much firepower on Jack's Capital side. I got Jack's Capital winning this game comfortably.
You know what? Deebo Samuel returned to practice today. He reported it himself, I guess, on Twitter. So
Nice.
If he's good to go, then that'll be really good for the offense. I don't know what it does to Brandon Ayuk, but definitely helps their overall offense. And David Montgomery, he's looking good. He's getting over his concussion. He's making progress, but his status is still uncertain as of right now for this coming up week.
Well, we hope to have Montgomery back. I'm sure he would like to slip him in there, replace Henderson with him. All right, so we all got Jack's Capital on this one. Let's move on to the primetime matchup, which is the Middletown Steel Tits and the Schmucks. If you guys can get that up on your board. Got the Smucks favored by 4 here. This part of the Battle of the East that we're gonna get into in the next podcast, but this is a big game. Big game. Uh, let's talk about this one real quick. What stands out for you? What stands out for you guys?
Well,
Kamara. He's got the Broncos defense going up against him. He should do some really nice things against Denver this week. So Schmuck should anticipate a real good game from him. Cooks has Detroit. Detroit hasn't really been that great this season, so he was a flyer for Schmucks, and he's been producing for him as of now. And Devontae against the Bears, you always gotta rely on him. You gotta fire him up because he'll put up 30 points. So I like the matchup for Smucks, but it's gonna be close. It's gonna be really tight because Steel Tits has a good team. They've been showing up. Even her Flyers have been showing up. So she's got some good mojo this season.
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Actually, is the last 2 weeks, or if not more, she's had a lot of players who, you wouldn't expect to have these breakout games, have those games, and she's been able to come up with some really high scoring games because of that. A couple weeks ago it was Hines and McKissick. Last week it was I believe it was Mark Andrews, and even Hines and McKissick, didn't have bad games. She's been having these Flyers really play well for her, and it's really helped her kind of get over the hump and go on this 4-game winning streak that she's currently on. And then on Mike's side, I mean, Alvin Kamara is not going to have 2 bad games in a row. He was off last week, only 10.5 points. That's not going to happen again with Alvin Kamara. So, I feel pretty comfortable with him winning that matchup with Chubb. And then Ronald Jones, I mean, he had a terrible game last night. That to me is the only risky play, but I don't know who else he can fill in there. He's got him at the flex right now. Maybe take a look at Darius Slayton or Mike Williams. I'm not really sure what you do with that, but he's somebody that is just consistently been inconsistent this year, especially following that huge game that he had last week. With that death that he had last night, just not very reliable. Overall, the matchup is pretty even. I'll give the edge to Schmucks, assuming Carson doesn't play. If he does, then I might have to lean towards Steel Tits on this one, just because her players have been so hot last few weeks. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's gonna be a close one. Good to hear that Kyler Murray's good to go. Standing by on the Chris Carson news. We'll see how that works out. You mentioned Ronald Jones. Like I wouldn't hate Jono Smith, but who knows? That was a tough loss last night. All comes down to that Rams defense and that Tom Brady interception. That was it's a hell of a ride. It was a good game. It was a good game. Good matchup. But
yeah, you can't really you can't sleep on that.
Secures the West for the
that Rams defense, man. They've been stepping up. They got Ramsey. He's holding down those receivers. He kept those guys in check. Well, who was he on last night? He was on multiple guys, right?
Yeah, he was shadowing Evans most of the game, though.
Yeah. So he kept him pretty quiet. But AB was that connection to Tom Brady is real. They still got that chemistry from New England.
Yeah, they have something going on, that's for sure. I think he's getting 8 and 9 receptions last 2 games, but yeah, that's there. Moving on, we're gonna go to Team Brody and Cream Pies. This is a must-win for Team Brody. He is the underdog approaching this matchup. He got a plus 13, I believe. Matt Stafford, Mike Davis, Giovanni Bernard one more time. DJ Moore, Tyler Higbee, Gus Edwards could be that. I mean, if he's going to get all those snaps, it's Pittsburgh. He had a good outing last time against Pittsburgh. We hope to see Brody stay alive here. Cream Pies, you got Adam Thielen on here. That's still up in the air. Who knows who knows if he plays. But all in all, Cream Pies is the favorite here. I lean towards cream pies, but you never know. I would like to see an upset here. You guys.
Yeah, Thielen. If he doesn't play, then you got to fire up your Jeffersons because he's gonna be the number one out there. So bad for Thielen owners, good for Jefferson owners. Um, Beasley, he had a great he had a great weekend previously, but I'm not sure if he could keep it up going two weeks in a row. But they do play the Chargers, so I think anything's possible against them. And Brody, like you said, he needs to win out this weekend to keep his head afloat. But he's got Edwards starting in the flex. It's not a great matchup because it is the Pittsburgh Steelers and they are undefeated and they have a really good defense. But you got to give him the start because he's gonna get the volume. He's gonna get the carries. So
Right. Yeah. So you know, it really depends, I think, on what Thielen, what happens with that. Because if he doesn't play, I assume he'll fill in that slot with Jamison Crowder, who hasn't been performing well the last couple of weeks. Um, with Crowder in, it's pretty even. I probably still lean more towards cream pies just because he's got more of those big hitters, right? He's got Derrick Henry, Kareem Hunt, Stephon Diggs. Those are guys that can just go crazy and carry you one week. And when I look over at Line Jug, I just don't see that player. I know that Robert Woods had a big game last night, but he's been a little up and down, this year. And I don't see anybody else on that side that can have a huge game like that, So that to me would probably be the decider. Um, I probably lean more towards cream pies in this matchup, even without Thielen.
Yeah. The Tampa Bay defense playing against KC. No, I'm not too happy about. I don't like that at all either. Um, but Robert Woods, and we'll see how Tyler Boyd responds without Bureau too. Anyway, Brody needs a W here. Cream pies locked in the playoffs. Let's move on. Crumb Duster versus Super Saiyan French Fries. Big game too. This one's this is a big game. I wouldn't call it must win for either one, but if this game's a must win to kind of secure that playoff victory, it's going to be for Super Saiyan French Fries. They are favored here by 20 points. Russell Wilson versus Alex Smith. That's a no-brainer. Wayne Gallman, Mostert, hopefully he returns. DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Lockett, the Lockett versus Robinson matchup. I like the Robinson, but I definitely like the Hopkins over Godwin. You like Ingram over Hurst, even though those lines is different. But Amari Cooper and Myers is pretty even. All in all, I like Super Saiyan French Fries in this one pretty comfortably. What do you guys think?
For me, I would go. Well, first of all, I would say it is a must win for Crumb Duster, just because I don't think. If they lose this game, the most games they can win is 6, and 6 games I don't think is going to be enough for them because of their point situation right now. I think they're pretty far back as far as the point differential between them and even the opponent they're playing against, French Fries, who they're battling for that final spot. So I think they need to win this game. I don't think it's a must win for French Fries, but for Crumb Duster for sure. I feel like if they drop this game, they're probably out because even if they get to 6 wins after the final week, they're not gonna have enough points to get in. Somebody else who has 6 wins will, I feel like, overcome them. As far as the matchup itself, Crumb Duster just hasn't made any moves. They haven't been scoring a lot of points. They've been working that waiver wire, but the trade deadline's tonight. I don't know if they're gonna make any moves or if they plan on to. But if you're projected to put out 127 points every week, you're not gonna win a lot of games. They still don't have Christian McCaffrey. They're not gonna get him back this week. So there just isn't enough talent on this team. There's too many flyers on this team for them to make any kind of noise. And even though Super Saiyan French Fries has been off the last, few weeks, they've lost 3 games in a row. He is getting back Mostert. after a long layoff, who most likely will be the number one back. And then he still has DeAndre Hopkins. He still has Tyler Lockett. He still has Russell Wilson. He's got way more firepower than Crumb Duster. And, unless Crumb Duster makes something, adds another, one of those big hitter type players between now and the trade deadline, I don't see it. I see French fries winning this game pretty handily.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with French fries this week. Wilson hasn't beat in the quarterback duel. I don't know what Smith can give you. He's definitely not gonna put up 30 or more points like Wilson does. So he's already behind the eight ball with the quarterback duel. And the running back matchups, they kind of canceled out because Mostert's still up in the air. He's designated off their injury reserve, but still not for sure to start this week. And French Fries' receivers, I really like them. They're explosive. They can easily win him the week this Sunday. It's just sad showing for Hurst this past week, but the Falcons didn't suit up, I guess, apparently. So it's just an off week for Hurst. But I'm gonna give the week to French fries.
I agree as well. Let's move on to. I want to cover this last one in depth, and then we'll breeze through the last one. This one is Childish Gambino versus Line Junk. Must win for Childish Gambino. Line Junk, you want this one as well. You don't want to. At the end of the day, I feel like the 6 seed is going to be, if Super St. Francis doesn't win out, that seed's going to be 6 and 7. So you want to win this one just to kind of help you secure that spot because, like I said, like Steve mentioned, you're behind in points here. But Rubino definitely needs this one. He needs a lot of help. And I think he can get this one. I mean, he failed. I mean, it came down to a kicker in this, last week. But I think he can get this one. Mahomes versus Watson. I like both of their matchups. Tampa Bay for Mahomes, Detroit for Watson. I like Gibson. Ahmed played well last week. There's still no news on Gaskin. You can hit on that. Brody. So I think Ahmed will probably get that start. Julio Jones, we still don't know that, but you got to love that Keenan Allen, Justin Jefferson duo there, especially if Thielen doesn't go. On the other side, Line Junk, CEH, Balaj. If Eckler comes back, that's going to get split. You like Juju. You like Deontay Johnson, Henry, Gurley. I don't really like Landry here, but he's got a favorable matchup. All in all, I think Gerbino takes care of business this time and stays alive. What do you guys think?
A lot of ifs in this matchup. Like you said, Julio Jones' status still, unknown. Same thing with Balaj. He's not injured, but with Eckler coming back, that they might split carries there. Overall matchup pretty even. I got Rubino winning this game, assuming Julio Jones suits up. Just because the receiving core I think is better, right? Julio Jones, Allen, Jefferson over Juju Smith-Schuster, Landry, and Deontay Johnson, and then the quarterback matchup too. I like Mahomes over Watson, and the running back matchup is pretty close. I think Gibson's been playing well. CH had a good game last game, and then Tom Gurley's been a little off. I assume that's why he's probably got him in the flex position now. But, like Brody mentioned earlier, none of the Falcons really showed up last week. So I got Rubino in this matchup. I feel like this will be a close game. And I got Rubino in a must-win.
Yeah, this matchup is pretty split down the middle. Mahomes and Watson, that should be a good battle between those two. Watson's been he's been pretty much unleashed since they fired Coach Bill O'Brien, and Mahomes has been consistent all year. He's got the weapons. Gibson has been producing as the starting running back this year. Ron Rivera, he's real confident in Gibson. He's going forward with him as a starter. News on Miles Gaskin. He's recovering well from an MCL sprain, and right now he's currently on IR, but he's going to come off of it after this week, so he should be eligible to return after week 12. And Julio Jones, as a Falcons fan, you got to know that Julio is questionable every week. But the thing is that even if he's, let's say, 50%, Falcons are still going to put him out there, even if he's a decoy, and that's the problem with owning him, because if he can stand up straight on the field, they're going to put him in there. But it's not good for you, because you're relying on him to put up some points, and if he puts up a 0, you know, you can't really be too upset with that. I like Jubino's chances with his receivers. If Jones does play, then I'm gonna give the advantage to Jubino. And Line Junk has. I like his running backs. Balaj has one more week left in him till Eckler comes back. So hopefully he puts up some points for him.
Yeah, this could be the last showing for the Balaj show. So we're going to pretty much breeze through this final one. I don't think we need to even really touch on it much. It's Cavengers versus Bungo. Cavengers already clinched the playoff. He already clinched the West. Bungo's already completely eliminated from playoff contention here. This game, I mean, do you want to talk about this one?
I got Cavengers in a blowout.
Yeah. Brody?
Yeah, so Mr. Bungo, he's jockeying for that first pick too, so winning isn't in his best interest, but I don't know, as the commish, what does secure the first pick? Is that something we could talk about later?
Secure if you win the consolation bracket, which would mean you place 7th overall, that secures you that first pick. So there will be 3 games, just like we have 3 playoff games. They will battle each other, though the 6 that did not make the playoffs. The winner of those will be awarded the 7th seed, and that 7th seed will imply you are the winner of the consolation bracket, and you will be awarded the first overall pick.
In the consolation bracket, who gets the bye week? Which 2 teams get the bye week? There is no bye week. No. Okay, so they just beat each other up for 3 weeks.
Yeah. So you will have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you'll have 3 games. You have 3 games. The winners of those will advance to the next one, and then the one with the highest points will play the other winner, and then the winner of that, the winners of those will play in that final one, which will determine the 7th and 8th seed, and you want to be that 7th seed to get that first pick.
So you just want to keep winning, basically. You want to win those last 3 games.
You want to win those last 3 games. You cannot. It's never happened where you've won 1 out of those 3 and come out with that. You want to. It could be a toss-up if you 2 out of those 3, but you want to win those 3 definitely. So
okay,
they're still playing.
So it comes down to who finishes with more points. Then is that how it works, overall, or more wins? That's a little confusing to me.
Yeah, it'll go by wins first, and then
okay.
Points. So if you win out all 3 games, then that's yours.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
If you get 2 out of those 1, then it'll come down to points.
Gotcha.
So the eliminated teams, are they still able to be active on the wire, or are they just rolling?
They can still be active on the wire. Trade deadline is 15 hours away. They are not eligible to trade with those in the playoffs, but they can trade amongst themselves. This won't really apply to like those like Brody or Drubino. Just applies to Bungo and Chain Gang.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
All right, so let's cut this here. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back with the live podcast with the league here. We're gonna discuss trade scenarios, playoff picture, dive deep into the Battle of the Sixth and the Battle of the East. So take a quick break, grab some water, take a piss, and we will be back.